What I have here are a bunch of fibers that make up aquarium media padding. And what I go ahead and use this for is as a filter for my exhaust to catch spores and not let any humidity or water go through my exhaust vent. And I actually use this for both my AC inlet, which means it pulls in hot air through here, puts cold air out here. And what happens is if I don't end up using this padding, a bunch of dirty spore water goes down into my duct and into my AC, decreasing the shelf life. Same thing with my exhaust filter. Because if I have the exhaust filter filling up with dirty water, and you could see the dirty water right about here going in, it will actually go towards the fan and start whipping it around, and you're gonna start hearing noises of water droplets. This is what I went ahead and used for the filter. This is a roll. I bought this for $15. It's about 20 feet in total, and I believe this is about 1 foot wide. So it's a pretty good deal. Maybe if we go ahead and buy this in bulk, it might be a lot cheaper, but I don't do that much growing consistently, and it's not that expensive. That's the great part. The reason I bought this, regardless of everything else, is because you get 3 of these on Northspore for $8. And the reason I bought this from Northspore is because originally I had Northspore products, and I'm not a major fan, but I still use the humidifier, and the humidifier came with some ducting, and the ducting is still used to my new grow tent, right? What I did was I got the media padding, I cut it up into the shape of the Northspore, which is the duct itself is about 3 inches. So since I didn't change the duct, it's gonna match 3 inches. And as you can tell by the filter over here, you see that there's a white and a blue side. So the white side, these fibers are, I believe, heat treated fibers, which is the same product as Northspore. It's just manufactured a little bit differently, because you can tell from the blue here. These fibers come apart fairly easily, but they're like a fine mesh. You flip it over, this side, this blue side, is a little bit more rigid, it's more hard, and this is actually a great thing, because what happens is you're gonna have your 3-inch duct, you can have whatever size duct you have, connect to the blue side, because you want the rigid side here. It's gonna go on to the duct, and all the water that gets pulled through, because this is gonna be exhaust fan, it's gonna be pulling air onto this side. It's going to be pulling through, and the water droplets, because this is a fine mesh, are going to start building up, and then wherever gravity is going to be flowing, the water droplets are probably going to be building up and going down and dripping onto your drip tray from the bottom here. One thing I will mention is you're going to realize a day or two before the harvest, where spores start dropping, that this is going to get very, very dirty around the center line, wherever the air is being pulled from. So because I primarily do shiitake mushrooms, I have an entire 3-inch circle where it's just shiitake spores. It's like a yellowy, nasty little residue, and it goes ahead and drips from the bottom onto the grow tent, which is pretty nasty, so you have to end up cleaning that. And as soon as you're done with every use, you just go ahead, toss this filter out, and get another one. I have 2 different filters here, one for my AC inlet, or the heat inlet, I should say, the hot air inlet, and one for my actual exhaust ducting. And the reason you want to keep the AC one on as well is because your AC does not want to be damaged by these spores. That's if you have the AC option. But whatever duct you have pulling air out of your grow tent, you want to have these filters. Otherwise, it's going to get very dirty, very messy. So let's go ahead and actually put on one of these filters for you guys. Okay, one of my best investments that I've made is buying these rubber bands off of Amazon. I got 45 pieces here. They were not that expensive. What happens is you get one of these giant rubber bands, you fold it over into 2 rubber bands, you go ahead, get your filter, and put it over the duct. And the great thing about doing this is that you don't have to get any wire, you don't have to get any zip ties, and you don't have to have any permanent fixtures. And the best part is also that you could reuse these rubber bands. What I end up doing is I completely wash the rubber bands after I toss the filter, and then I leave it in the sun for a bit so it's kind of sanitized in a way, because the sun does kill a lot of bacteria. You could put this in a UVC or whatever else you need to. It's really not that serious considering it's just a rubber band. And then after, you could keep using it until it breaks, but I could pretty much reuse these as many times as I want. Okay, so one of the biggest pains is putting on this filter with the rubber band, because you only have 2 hands and for some reason it feels like you need a lot more. What I've gone ahead and done is turned on my exhaust. So it's constantly running, and watch this. Voila! Boom! And one important thing I'm gonna tell you guys is putting the rubber band on is kind of a pain. You gotta treat this like a very fine woman. You gotta be patient, guys. So check this out. I'm slightly struggling, but oh, see what I mean? You gotta be patient. And once I get it on, I kind of stretch it out so it falls into a groove, and we're good. Boom, it's already on. You could tell it's not completely on, but there we go. What's gonna happen now is you don't really have to worry about it dripping down one of these, because it just ends up building on the edge over here. And another thing you could do is pull your vent out a little bit, angle it down if you need to, and it'll end up dripping. Another key thing I like doing sometimes is having one of the corners be at the bottom so it drips down like that. But I realize it doesn't really matter that much, so I just leave it as is, whatever's easiest for me. And if you guys thought that one was a pain in the ass, you are wrong, because I'm about to put on the AC inlet one. What is gonna absolutely suck about this one is I don't have the AC on because I don't want to waste the power. I don't want to have it running without any filter on it regardless. But check this out. I'm trying to put this on and the tube keeps moving. It's really, really bad. I could do it like this first, but it's a horrible pain just trying to wiggle that rubber band on. So we're gonna keep trying this. I've always struggled with this one. There's just not an easy solution. And my advice is to always leave more extra sides on this, so when you fold it in, the rubber band has somewhere to clasp onto. What I'm actually gonna do is fold the rubber band twice here, because sometimes I do it once, sometimes I do it twice, depending on how big it is. This one is a very big pain, but like I said, just like a good woman, you have to be patient, you have to love her right, and it's the very same case. And sometimes you're gonna get frustrated, like I am right now, and eventually you'll get it. But trial and error, my friends, you guys got this. Okay guys, I cheated. I turned on the AC because it was way too much of a pain. Now at least I don't have to worry about it falling down on its own. I'm gonna go ahead and try this, and let's see how easy it is. Not that easy, but easier. See, check this out. All good now. And all it took was just turning it on, right? Like I said, with the right woman, it will work very easy. It's the wrong woman, you're gonna be struggling for a long, long time. And just to mention one more time, it's very important for you to have your duct as far forward as you can, because if you have it too close to the wall, it's gonna drip down the wall and go under your drip tray, which you don't want. Or if it's too close to the wall, it'll drip down, splash up, and go under your drip tray over here. And that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing at all, because it's just gonna create a mess, and if it dries up, it's gonna be even bigger pain in the ass to clean. Same thing for the exhaust duct. You wanna keep it pretty far forward, and I've actually never had any issues of it dripping down the wall because I keep it so far forward. It just ends up dripping right around that line you see here. And it's pretty easy to clean. I usually keep my grow tent on a decline, so all the water, all the nasty grub goes towards one side. And I hope this video has been pretty important to you guys, and hopefully it helps you out.